on that note, you are like one of the trailblazers, I feel like, for getting guaranteed contracts.
Yes.
I've tried talking about it. I mean, I've talked about it several times about how you went about doing it, but can you walk everybody through how you put yourself in that situation to get was it the first fully guaranteed quarterback contract that big?
I think so. I don't know quite going back. I don't quite know all the history, but it was 100% my agent. I remember sitting at the Super Bowl after my rookie year, and Joe Flacco was about to be a free agent, and he was also about to quarterback in the Super Bowl. And we sat there. I knew nothing about contracts, and my agent said, what the Ravens are going to be able to do is either sign him to a long-term deal or they're going to have to franchise tag him twice. And so the entire negotiation will be based off of 2 franchise tags and what those 2 franchise tags are worth, and that's what they'll have to negotiate off of. And so I didn't know 4 years later I'd be in a similar spot where I'd finish my season, be coming to free agency, and my agent just said, this is Joe Flacco all over again. It's a 2-year franchise tag. That'll be the foundation of any negotiation. And he said, what I'd like to do is, because I see those 2 years being basically guaranteed, I'd like to just do a 3-year deal fully guaranteed. And he offered that to the team, and obviously they were not interested in that model. And he just said, okay, then we'll do the 2 franchise tags. And, 2 years from now, and I'm, simplifying it a little bit, but he said 2 years from now, we'll go to free agency and try to get that same deal, a 3-year deal fully guaranteed. And so that's literally what happened. I just watched my agent basically exercise what he had spoken about Joe Flacco after my rookie year, did it with me, kind of called his shot, if you will, and watched the next 5 years unfold exactly the way he said.
Isn't there some risk involved in doing that and trying to get to the market?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, injuries certainly, but if you don't play well, and I think I was in a great spot because I had great players around me, great coaches around me, and was in a place where I felt I could have success. I could be effective. And so I didn't feel like I needed to just take a deal. I think sometimes as a player, you take a deal because you're concerned about maybe your play going down. And I thought, no, I think I'm going to keep improving, and I've got great people around me. So I'm okay going year to year. And certainly it worked out.
When you were going through the process with your agent telling you that, was there ever a point of resistance for you where, just like you talked about, like, hey, listen, like, what about if I get injured? Things you can't control, right? Everyone has confidence in their ability to play, but sometimes freak things happen on the field and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's a great question. I think the short answer is no. I was very comfortable with his plan and what he was doing. I knew there was risk, but I also felt like I had seen Tom Brady tear his ACL in 2008, and he comes back and plays another, decade plus. So Carson Palmer's done the same thing. I think twice torn his knee and come back and played at a Pro Bowl level. So I felt like even with an injury, you can come back at quarterback. I do think that the position was unique. Yes. There are other positions where I don't think you would want to do what we did.
Now, I think what's cool about this is I got to sit with you several times, like we were boys on the skins, and explain how it was important for you to even to get to free agency, because you were thinking about that stuff ahead of time. I remember sitting with you in a meeting and talking, like, whenever the PA or anybody would talk about contracts, and back, what you need is somebody to get somebody higher, in status to get to free agency, so that way they can start the domino effect for this stuff. And I know that was like a goal of yours to do something like that.
Yeah, my agent had always said that no real great player goes to the market. Teams don't let them leave their building. And, that's so common to just take a good deal. I mean, I think it's smart. Why need to go to the market if a team is offering you a great deal that accomplishes what you're trying to accomplish? But he did always say that somebody going to the market is the only way you could actually get guaranteed money more than just 1 or 2 years. So that was part of why going to the market. It was part of why I think my agent wanted to get a fully guaranteed deal was, hey, we did all this to get to the market. We're going to try to get this structure. But, it wasn't a model that I think a lot of people have tried to follow since then. I think Deshaun Watson was pretty much able to be a free agent while still having a contract, which was a unique situation.
Yeah.
So,
in general.
He's probably the other one who was able to do it. But I do think there, have been guys who have benefited certainly from whenever another player goes to the market, or another player does something, I think the whole league or all the players benefit from that in some way.
Yeah. So if you have the model of fully guaranteed contract and you hear fully guaranteed, people are like, that sounds amazing. Why do you think that people have not followed that?
Yeah, I
Like
was just
why?
very surprised people didn't follow
Because
suit.
it seems like that's when I was, I met Will when I was kind of going through my contract negotiations and we just met and he's like, why don't you do a fully guaranteed? And I'm like, brother, like I can't, I can't do that.
Give me a year or
I'm
two,
like,
Yeah.
like 3 weeks into our friendship, he's like, why don't you do a fully guaranteed? And I was like, I don't think that's how this shit works for me.
Hey, Kirk
Being a
Cousins.
left tackle, because
Yeah.
the way we've said this on our show before is quarterbacks, the big time players need to be the ones to get the fully guaranteed contract. So it becomes a normal thing, a trickle down effect for everybody else, position by position. And so you go and do it. You're the unicorn. And we don't know the whole history, but it seems like you're the only guy that's done fully guaranteed contracts and it's worked. The bank account is doing fantastic. And so why do you think these players are not following suit with that blueprint?
I think there's still pretty good contracts out there that are hard to turn down. And I think that it's still life-changing. And I understand why they take that way they do the deals they do. I don't think you need to go to free agency. I think you can still have a great contract and change, your life, your family's life. There's so much that, again, it's hard to turn down something that's on the table like that. I do remember when Matt Ryan, just like a month after I signed my free agent contract in Minnesota, Matt Ryan signed his 5-year extension, and it was the first 3 years were guaranteed, but there were 2 more years on. So it wasn't a fully guaranteed deal. And I texted my agent to say, so it sounds like, the next quarterback wasn't going to follow our pattern like you're asking. And my agent texted back and he said, no, actually the opposite. The first 3 years are fully guaranteed, and it's for a lot more than what you got.
Yeah.
So his point was like, he would never have gotten that structure of 3 years fully guaranteed at the number he did unless you had done the deal you just did a month or 2 ago. Now he did tack 2 years on to make it a 5-year deal.
Probably got him more money in the front end too.
Yeah, but he it was still a favorable deal for him in those first 3 years so that's my point. You kind of can build on the previous person each time. And I've been kind of removed from it for a while now because once I got to Minnesota and got out of free agency, I was just kind of focused on, being there as long as I can. And I even, after we went to the playoffs in 19, signed a 2-year extension that wasn't fully guaranteed at signing. So for me, it's just kind of been trying to win, trying to stay in Minnesota and create a winning situation there.